Hey knitters, welcome back to my channel. My name's Louise from Wildflower Wool and welcome to a brand new episode of New Start Monday Knits. You will find me here every Monday showing you 2 new cast-ons that I'm planning to work on for this upcoming week. Let's jump right in. I'll show you. I have got a lot of yarn here, you guys. I've got yarn for new projects. I have a few projects from the few weeks past that I'm going to show you updates on, and I have a new project that I started on the weekend that I'm not sure what I classify that as because I didn't wait till Monday to start it, and it was after last Monday's new start, so it is just totally an extra, I guess. Anyways, let me show you, what will I start with? I'm going to show you my dishcloth because my 2 new projects that I'm going to show you every week, one is going to be a dishcloth because I'm aiming to get at least 52 done, maybe a few more. And then the second cast on is just going to be something randomly that I pick, either using some stash or non-stash because this week's new start is not using stash. I bought some new yarn on the weekend. But first, let me show you my dishcloth. That this is, there's good and bad news about this dishcloth. Last week, I talked about the 4-corner dishcloth and I showed you my first corner. I had about half of the square done. Anyways, remember this one? I was doing it out of white. And I had some concern about whether white would be a good choice or would not be. Would it get too yucky looking after it was used a few times? You guys left me some really amazing comments, which I loved because I had never thought that white might actually be the best choice because you can bleach it. Somebody at Knit Night tonight told me that she remembers when dishcloth cotton basically primarily was just sold as white for that reason. Who knew? Not me. Everybody else did. Anyways, so that is making me feel a little bit better about using white because it can be bleached, which now that I'm coming to, thinking about it, that does make a lot of sense. The other good news about this dishcloth is that it used almost this whole ball of white. So I'm going to have a little bit left over to do some stripy, scrappy dishcloths at some point. The bad news is I have to pull out square 4. So this is done all in short rows. And last week when I talked about this, I hadn't read through the whole pattern, and I'm pretty sure I said that this was done in short rows and you would do a square, and I'm pretty sure I said you'd have to pick up stitches to do the next square. You don't have to pick up stitches because this is done basically just like a short row sock heel or short row toe, where you are doing half of your you're working 1/2. So this is a square. So you do 1/2 and then you can see the row, this pretty eyelet row, and then you work the other half. So each square has got 19 stitches on it, so there's no picking up. You always have your 19 stitches. You just carry on past your short row and all up your 19 to start the other half. I don't know. I'm getting this all a little mixed up. It's not really that tricky unless you do it at knit night and you don't keep track of your rows. I was doing good. I got, where are we going here? I think this was 1, 2, 3. And look at how these nice eyelets are all lining up here. So I guess it's kind of like this is coming all the way down this way. This top one makes a nice V. So if we were keeping track and carrying, sorry, I can't see, so hopefully you could see that. So I should look here. There's a nice V. This one here kind of goes from top and it carries down to the bottom. So if we were going to repeat this nice V and keeping these diagonal lines carrying on, you guys may already have noticed this is not going the right direction. This nice diagonal line should carry on, and it should be going this way. Mine's going that way. So what has happened? I have skipped a row. So somewhere where I should have been knitting across this way, I was on the wrong side and I knit across this way. So instead of my corner coming down like this, my corners come down and gone like that. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. I'll just pull out those rows and I'll fix it and I'll carry on. So not a big deal, just a typical knit night problem, right? Talking too much, not quite paying close enough attention to my pattern, but that's okay. I don't know. I'll fix it up and I'll show it to you again next week. What was my other new start last week was my mitered square. This poor little guy didn't get much knitting done on him at all. A few rows, but I didn't even manage to get the square done. But I'll show you what I've got done. I had good intentions, but I guess this is what's happening now. I'm getting a few too many projects on the go, and some of them are large ones that I'm liking knitting on, and this guy just didn't get too much attention. There's my cute little sheep stitch marker. So look at that, but look at it's on track. I don't have to pull it on this one, so that's a good thing. And my double decreases. All right, let me get, I've got this big long needle here. My stitches are getting, my rows are getting shorter on this because every other row I'm knitting across. 2 stitches before my marker, I'm knitting 2 together. I'm slipping the marker, and then I'm knitting 2 together through the back loop on the other side and knitting to the end. Then I turn it around and I knit 1 straight row. And I'm just going to keep going until I get my square finished. But you can see doing those decreases on either side of the center mark. Look how it's pulling it up, and we're getting a nice point on the bottom. So that is the beginning of a mitered square. This is the beginning of a blanket, and at this rate, it's going to take me a very long time to get it done. And wow, that's all right. Maybe I'll work on it a little bit more this week. Well, we'll see. But it started. So it started, it's on track, so I can keep going on it whenever I want to. Let me show you. So that was a recap of my new starts from last week. Let me show you what I'm going to start this week. My dishcloth. I've got some yellow cotton here. I'm pretty sure that this is probably dishy. I don't know, obviously I don't have a ball band on it. It does look, I've got this pulled out, so it looks like I have used this before. So this will be some leftovers from a dishcloth that I did before, but there's still lots in here. I haven't weighed it, but I know there's tons in here, probably enough for at least 2 dishcloths. I believe the sunshine, I think the colorway is something like sunshine, which would totally make sense with this pretty yellow variegated. Variegated, or maybe it's more tono. Maybe I'd say tono. Anyways, what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to do 1 big mitered square dishcloth. That is my plan with this. Probably again a 4mm needle. I'm thinking, what will I'm gonna need, I'm gonna have to figure out how many stitches I'm gonna cast on. I don't know, 45, 48, maybe a little more, probably more. Anyways, I'll play around with that. So I will keep you updated on this. But I like this color. This is the next one for this week. Dishcloth, oh my gosh, I've lost count of my dishcloths. 7, 8, will this be 9 possibly? But I am on, well, can I say I'm on track? I would have been on track if my white one had turned out the way it should have turned out, but it did not. But that's, yeah, I'll catch up at the end, right? Because my dishcloths, even though I want to have 52 done, I'm not so worried that I have exactly one done every week, because last week, 2 weeks ago, I didn't have my dishcloth done either, and I caught up and I got 2 done. So that's okay. So basically, as long as I end up with 4 done a month, if I skip a week and I do 2 the following week, I'm okay with that, as long as it all evens out in the end, right? So I'm going to fix my white one, and then I'll probably fix that, get that needle back. I keep looking at the foot because I dropped it on the floor. I should pick it up again. There. I was able to scoop it up. Okay, so I will finish this. I will pull this last square back. I'm not, maybe about here? Where will I? Yeah, right about here. I've got to pull back to about here. And then I will make sure, I guess, note to self, sometimes making a mistake is the best way to learn, right? Make sure that this eyelet diagonal is going this way. It wants to come from the center out. Yes, all of the others are coming from the center out, aren't they? Okay, so I'll pull that out, fix it, get my needle back, and then I'll start this week's dishcloth in this really pretty yellow. We're supposed to have some snowy, rainy, kind of wintry weather overnight tonight, so it'll be nice to have a nice spring color to start casting on the next couple days. Okay, those are my dishcloths. The next thing I'm going to show you is 2 skeins of new yarn. I broke down, this is my first yarn purchase of the year, and I made it all the way to mid-February, so I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. And this is yarn that I have been eyeing every time I go into Little Red Mitten. I see this yarn hanging on the wall, and I go over, and this colorway is what I pick up and fondle. So I came home with 2 skeins of Leo and Roxy. This is their Eco Wool and Organic Cotton. It is a blend, what is 70% wool, 30% cotton. And you know what? I think this stuff feels so soft. But I let my daughter touch it because I thought she would be a good objective third party. You know, as far as how this yarn felt, because I guess I'm used to pretty rusticy stuff, right? Lopi, Briggs & Little, and things like that I like. So when I feel this, I think it feels incredibly soft. She picked it up and she's like, no, still picky. But because I was hoping maybe this would be a nice wool yarn to use for people who are a little more sensitive to wool than I am. But I don't know, maybe once it's washed, maybe, because lots of times even like Lopi will soften a bit. See, can't you tell? I love this. See, I love the feel of Lopi, so this to me feels like silk. Anyways, there's no color names on this, they're just numbers. So which one is this? This is 5, this one's 5, and this one is 2. And I am going to wind these up into cakes. And I have this idea that I'm going to knit this into my herringbone shawl here. 2-color herringbone. I haven't tried it before, but in my head, it sounds, and I can envision it looking really fantastic. So we'll see how it looks. It'll either turn out good or it will turn out not so good. Either way, I will show you the verdict. But this shawl, I don't know if you can see it up here on the mannequin, but it has an I-cord edge on it. So I'm thinking that if I'm using 2 colors and the color, so every 2 rows, I'm gonna switch and I'll carry my yarn up the side and I will just hide the yarn that I'm carrying up the side, I'll hide it inside this I-cord. So I think that'll be a good way to disguise, just kind of hide that yarn carrying up the side, still give it a nice finished edge, and have some two-colored herringbone. If you guys haven't done herringbone before, I highly suggest it. I love, love, love that stitch. So stay tuned. Maybe see some progress pictures on Instagram, and definitely I will show you next Monday how this turns out. I cannot wait to use this. And I'm definitely going to use this. This is why I bought this, knowing that this would be this week's New Start project, because when I buy yarn this year, I really want to have a project in mind, and I want to get it wound up and on the needles. I don't want any new purchases going into my stash. That is kind of the deal I'm making with myself when I make a purchase. I have to have a project, have to have a plan, and I have to get it started. So I'm excited about this. So those are going to be this week's new starts. What else can I show you that I've been working on? Because I've actually got a lot of knitting done this week, which has been a really good knitting week. How has your knitting week been? Did you manage to get lots of time to knit? It was Valentine's Day weekend. Okay. I don't know if that means you had extra time to knit or you had less time to knit. I ended up having lots of time to knit this weekend, which was fantastic. Okay, I'm partway across. I haven't finished my row. That's why this is... Okay, I'm not going to get to give you a very good look at this because I'm still partway. I didn't finish my row. I'm almost finished. Anyways, I must have got distracted. European Road Trip Shawl, Patton's Croy. I've got ball number 2 joined. And my increases are all done. I think I showed this last time. See, I haven't got much more done. You can see where the increasing was going on down here. And now just a few straight rows of plain knitting. And this needs to go on for quite a long time. Like probably 2 or 3 more balls worth of long time. Anyways, ball 2 is on here. So this is, I'm just ready to go. Just again, plain stockinette. Knit a row, purl a row, easy peasy. Just pick it up and knit on it wherever I am. So that will keep going. What I did get a lot done on was my hitchhiker. I'm really excited to show this to you guys. I put a progress marker on here after I showed it to you last week. All right, I'm gonna try to hold this. But here, I'll show you the cake. My poor cake has got a little bit, this is kind of my goal, is I keep pulling out yarn as I'm knitting to try to get this mess all knit into the shawl. So far, I haven't got it. But maybe later this week, we'll have that. I'm just worried it's gonna tangle. So I'm hoping if I knit quickly, I will get it knit before it tangles. Look at this, you guys. Look how big this is getting. This is where I just had this teeny tiny little bit done last week when I showed it to you. I had 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and I've got this much more done. I'm really happy with how this is coming out. So what do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points on here now. So what I will do, I'm going to move out. This is not a very fancy stitch marker, but it does the job. Removable stitch marker. I should really go find my really cute fancy ones. But you use what you can find, right? So I'm going to put this and mark this for number 14 point. And then that'll give me a good idea. Next Monday, we'll be able to see how much I've got done this week. This is pretty much was what I picked up. If I wanted to sit down and get a few rows of knitting done, this is what I picked up. And I would do what is it? I think it's an 8-row repeat on this hitchhiker, and every 8 rows you get a point. And so that was kind of what I would do when I would sit down and work on it. I would work 8 rows and I get a point, and I might have done 1 or 2 points, and then I would put it down for a bit and work on something else. So I'm pretty happy. It's actually starting to look like a shawl. It's getting a little bit of width up here. The rows are getting a little bit longer, but that's okay. But I still have tons and tons of yarn, because remember we were talking about the hitchhiker and how much yarn, because it says it's a 1 skein shawl, but the pattern was wrote with or knit with a ball that was about 150 grams. This is probably 100 grams, but I still have like lots and lots and lots in here. So I am not worrying at all that this is going to be too small. I think I'm going to get lots of yardage out of this. I'm not, at least not yet. I am not worrying about it. Oh, my mitt. I've got a mitt to show you. Okay, so I've come up with a couple of, this is kind of one of the good story, bad story thing as well. The good part of the story is that this is actually done. I just need to snip the yarn, and then what I will do is I'll put it on a darning needle. So I will leave, I don't know, about that much, just a little bit. I don't need too much. Snip it off. I'll put this end on a darning needle, and then I will come back here and I will pick up all of these. What do I have? 6. I have 8 stitches left on my top of my thumb. I will pick up those 8 stitches, and then I will just pull it snug like a drawstring. And then this mitt will be finished. I made a really long cuff on here because obviously I like knitting ribbing, because I always knit. I think I was going for 3 inches, and I thought 3 inches would give me a nice long cuff, and I'm pretty sure this is 4, which is fine because I can either leave it nice and long or I can fold it up. And it also fits perfectly. Look at that. Remember before, a couple videos ago, I said I was a little concerned when I started the ribbing. I thought it looked a little bit too big, but then I was going to keep going and just let that ribbing get a little farther away from the needles, and then let that ribbing, the pulling in action happen. Well, that's exactly what I did, and it's worked out lovely. It fits my hand nice. I like my mitts to fit nice and snug. I don't like them to be too loose, because I think then that gives more opportunity for the wind to blow through. If it just fits nice and snug to your hand, I think it's going to give you more warmth. The tips of my fingers are right there. So this is literally fits like a glove, you guys. I'm super happy with this. Well, sort of almost happy. I'm happy that it's done. I'm happy with the fit. I just need to clean up a few little ends here. There's a tail inside here where I picked up stitches for the thumb. So that tail is what I will use just to fill in any little gaps. This side looks okay. This just right here. I'll use that tail to fill that in. I'll weave this in, and I'm done. Only thing, so the bad part about this mitten story is this yarn. I don't like it. I don't know what this is. I'm sure it's an acrylic yarn. I don't like the feel of it. And I'm not even sure where I got it, but I'm pretty sure I bought it just because it was yellow. Anyways, I'll be happy to get this knit up and be gone. I'm knitting it nice and tightly, so it's going to be warm for somebody who needs a pair of mitts. This will probably, it may go in the Christmas box for right now, or it may get donated to charity for next fall probably. I might do some embroidery. I said I was going to put some embroidery, some flowers on here. I may try and play around with that this week or maybe next week. We'll see. Anyways, the good news is it's done. I liked knitting the pattern. It was my super simple mitten pattern. Very simple, quick and easy. Mitts are really simple. They're probably, when I'm talking to students, I always say, if people are concerned about jumping into projects that are maybe a little too difficult for them when they're first learning, I always tell them to do a mitt before they do a sock. A lot less knitting, bigger yarn, bigger needles, a good opportunity to learn to knit in the round before you start into a sock on really tiny, tiny needles. Anyways, one mitt done, guys. This is almost a finished project. Now I'm going to have some of this left over, which I don't know what I will do with, because it won't be enough for a cowl unless I stripe it with something else. Anyways, I will see. I'll think about that. But I have a mitt done. I'm pretty happy. The other thing, I have one more project to show you. This is my project that I started on Saturday. And I briefly thought, I shouldn't be starting something on Saturday. I should wait and start it on Monday. But I couldn't wait. I was too excited. I was in a sock knitting mood this weekend. Probably because I taught a sock knitting class. And I thought, I need to knit a sock along with my students. So I cast on Saturday. So I get, if I had stuck to my original plan and didn't cast on, so I guess this is my third cast on from last week. And look how much I've got done. I'm just about ready to do my heel flap. If I hadn't been knitting on a sock, I could have gotten my other mitten done and probably got my mitered square, my blue sparkly square. It could have been done. But no, I started something else. So this is Patton's Croy. Let me show you the ball. Patton's Croy, you might have seen. I know I posted a couple of pictures of this project on Instagram this weekend. Patton's Croy. I am going to do, this will be a pair of socks for me. I remember initially I had talked about this yarn and I was going to do this in a size for a man's sock and put it in my Christmas box, but I was rewriting my sock pattern for my class and I've added a third size in there. I've got, I added a size in there for 64 stitches and I wanted to, so this is kind of like my test knit. I wanted to make sure I worked the heel on 64 stitches just to make, I did, I don't know if I have that. No, I can't grab it right now. I knit little heel turns just to make sure that my pattern was accurate because it was written already for 68 stitches and 72 stitches and I added on 64. When I initially wrote the pattern, I just went with 68 because I find when you're using most sock yarn that's available, the fine, like what you typically knit with, 68 stitches I like with that yarn. Patton's yarn, the Patton's Croy is a little bit thicker. And because it's thicker, I typically knit it with 64 stitches. Because it's thicker yarn and 68 stitches, I find it just makes it a little bit big. But most people aren't knitting with Patton's Croy with this just a smidge thicker yarn. So that's why I didn't put 64 in the original pattern. But a couple of people who have knitted have said that they did want something that was a little bit smaller. So I have fixed my pattern, or not fixed it, I have added to it. And then I thought, well, this will give me a perfect time. I'll just make sure I'll knit it on my sock just to make sure it's fine. But what I did for the actual pattern when I was rewriting it this weekend, I just knit the little, the heel flap on a little sample piece. And just to make sure the numbers were right, and it worked out. So pattern's done, pattern's updated, which I'm really super happy about. And I'm going to get a pair of socks, either for me or, well, I guess really anybody who wants them. These will probably be like a lady's size. So either my daughter, my sister-in-law, my niece, I don't know. I guess whoever kind of likes these green colors, or maybe I will just keep them for myself because I think I need a couple new pairs of socks. So we'll see. I'm kind of in a sock knitting mode, which is perfect because then I can get some of my Croy used up. I really like this. I really do like this color. I thought this, and it would make a great man's sock, but I think it would also make a good sock for me too. So I think I'm going to keep this pair for me. I'm knitting it on a little 9-inch circular. Again, there was method to my madness here. I'm going to film a little video because I know Caroline says when she knits her socks on a little 9-inch needle, she always puts the heel onto DPNs. And I have always just done mine on a 9-inch circular. So I'm going to do another little video on how I do that because it's not that hard. It's just maybe a little fiddly, but it's totally doable. So I'm gonna film that for you guys as well. I think that might be it, everybody. I think it is. So this is kind of what I'm working on. I'm gonna get my cakes wound up. I was going to mention some of the comments. I really truly enjoy chatting to you guys in the comments, and you know, I learned so much from the things that people tell me, things that they've knit, their experiences, and you guys gave me some great ideas for the white dishcloth yarn. Market bags, which I think is an amazing idea. Placemats was another idea. And then, of course, the bleaching them, another fabulous idea. I think it was Joanne who left me a comment, and I could just see her eyes rolling as she was typing this comment. And she's like, Louise, do simple dishcloths. If you want to get your stash done, keep it simple. And you know what, Joanne? You were absolutely right, especially for this 4-corner dishcloth. I know Donna Jean has knit a few of them, and hers have looked fantastic because she's done them in variegated yarn, which looks really fun, and you get to see the whole more of the pattern, more so than you do in the white. But I don't know, it was a little fiddly for me for a dishcloth. It was fun to do, and I do actually really like the idea of it, and I like the shape. I mean, it certainly is fun, and maybe I'll do it again. I don't know if I will. I might. I've got the pattern now in my Ravelry library, so I have it there. I may do it again, but I may also just find some other fun patterns to do too. I can't think of anything else that I was going to share with you. I think that's pretty much it. Again, I think I had a great knitting week last week, and I'm looking forward to having another just as productive week this week. Get a few more points done on my hitchhiker, get the white dishcloth finished, get the yellow one finished, get the heel done on my sock, start my new herringbone shawl. I think I've got lots to keep me busy. Plus, I've got my Lopi sweater that I need to get finished. And what do I have? I think I have 2 weeks before I do a finished Friday video because I really want to have a few things finished for that Friday. So that is, I like having this idea of a finished Friday because it's giving me a little push to keep me going to get things done. We will see. I will check in with you guys all again next Monday, give you some progress updates, and I'll show you what I'm going to work on next Monday. Another dishcloth and another project that I do not know what it's going to be yet. So I would love to know what you were working on this week. Do you have anything that you're close to a finish on? And if you have a dishcloth pattern that you like to knit, leave it in the comments below because I am going to be looking for some more dishcloths to knit. So Dawn and Jean, I'm glad that you had posted pictures and shared the 4-corner one, because it was fun to knit. I found I had to really keep track. Well, I needed to keep track, and obviously I didn't keep track as much as I should have because I mucked it up. But it was still fun to knit, and I'm still glad that I did it. And maybe once I get it finished, I may knit another one. If I do another one, I will definitely do it in a variegated. You know what? If I have leftover, I will have leftover yellow. I could do another 4-corner in this, couldn't I? Maybe that's what it will be. Or, let me see. What do you guys think? Should I try another 4-corner in the variegated? Or does somebody else have another pattern that I could try with this? I can't wait till it... Let me say that again. I can't wait to find out what you are going to suggest that I could try with the rest of this bow. Have a fantastic week, guys. Get lots of knitting done, and let's chat in the comments. I will see you next week. Bye for now.